Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Bryan Kohberger case. Bryan Kohberger's defense is facing an uphill battle in getting their indictment dismissed. The Bryan Kohberger indictment, the defense is trying to get it dismissed, and legal experts in Idaho are saying that is an uphill battle. Retired Supreme Court justices out of Idaho saying it is an uphill battle. Literally an impossible battle to win. Check this report here right now. New article by the Idaho Statesman. Bryan Kohberger's attorneys want indictment dismissed. It's an uphill battle, experts say. A motion to dismiss the indictment that accuses Bryan Kohberger of murdering 4 University of Idaho students filed last week would have far-reaching implications for the way grand juries indict people in Idaho if it succeeds. 2 retired Idaho Supreme Court justices told the Idaho Statesman. Kohberger's defense attorneys argued in the motion posted Thursday that grand jurors were incorrectly given a lower than necessary standard of proof to indict him. The state court system announced in May that the grand jury for the case indicted him with 4 counts of first-degree murder connection with the fatal stabbings in November. At the time, Kohberger was a graduate student at Pullman. As we know, the victims were Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. Jay Loxton, Chief Deputy of Litigation for the Kootenai County Public Defender, said in a motion that the Idaho Constitution and state law say a grand jury standard of proof should be beyond a reasonable doubt. If Kohberger's defense team succeeds in the motion, retired Supreme Court Chief Justice Jim Jones told the Statesman in an email they would overturn long-standing Idaho law regarding the standard that must be met to support a grand jury indictment, making the new standard beyond a reasonable doubt, not the current lower standard of probable cause. But Jones said it is unlikely Kohberger's attorneys will win. I agree. It's really hard to flub a grand jury, he said in a phone interview. There's not much you can do to screw up the process. I don't think this has any chance of success. Yeah. Loxton argued that the Idaho statute states the grand jury ought to find an indictment when all the evidence before them taken together, if unexplained or contradicted, would, in their judgment, warrant a conviction by a trial jury. Former Attorney General David Leroy, now a Boise criminal defense lawyer, agreed with Loxton's interpretation. It's a quirky situation that has lain undetected in Idaho criminal procedure for more than a century. Joe Horton, a retired Supreme Court justice, told the Statesman that the statute, which does not use the phrase reasonable doubt, is ambiguous. The state constitution doesn't offer much clarity about the standard of proof issue either, he said. Horton said the motion will be an uphill battle to win. A successful ruling would essentially result in the end of grand juries in Idaho without new legislation, he said, because it would make it more difficult to charge someone through the process and require the presentation of more evidence. Even Loxton acknowledged that the succeeding of the motion would be a challenge. The defense recognizes that the whole of modern jurisprudence on this issue is against it, as well as at least one founding father of the state, he said in a motion. But Loxton framed the motion as something that would help others, too, by overturning a tragic and unconstitutional misinterpretation of the grand jury indictment standard in Idaho. So, a uphill battle, pretty much impossible battle. You would knock out the whole grand jury process. Do you believe that they could get the indictment dismissed or not? Let me know what you think. An uphill battle. Bryan Kohberger's defense is facing an uphill battle. Do you think it's an uphill battle? Or do you think it's a downhill battle that they'll be able to get the indictment dismissed? I think it's literally impossible to get an indictment dismissed in Idaho, because pretty much then everyone's indictment should be dismissed. And do you think Bryan Kohberger's public defenders have that capability to make that happen, to disrupt the entire 200 years of criminal history and criminal precedent in Idaho? I think their motion's going to go denied. What do you think? Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. Let me know what you think about Bryan Kohberger's indictment. Will it get dismissed or not? I say no. Maybe you guys say yes. We will talk soon. Stay tuned.